Hello, and welcome to my draft analysis for the Prepared Attack Beastieball Draft League. Specifically, this is an analysis of the Neural Net Divisions draft because that's the one that I'm in. But before I start, I know you have a lot of questions like, what do you mean draft analysis? And what the fuck is a neural net division? And who are these guys? Like, what is going on? Like, can you explain any of this? So, to start, what is Beastieball? Beastieball is a creature collecting RPG where you journey to become the best Beastieball coach and stop an evil corporation. And yeah, it's a lot like Pokemon. But while Pokemon has cute friends fight for sport, Beastieball has cute friends play sports for sport, specifically volleyball. And in Beastieball, stats come in three varieties. There's body, spirit, and mind. So you might be thinking, okay, it's like rock paper scissors, body beats spirit, spirit beats mind, mind beats body. And I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. Every beastie has a power and a defense stat in each of the stats. So a beastie with a higher body power stat will be able to hit harder with body attacks. And if a beastie has a lower body defense stat, then they'll take more damage from those body attacks. The same goes for all of the three types. What is a draft league? So, the draft league is a way to play creature collecting games where you have to consider which beasties you want to have and which beasties your opponents want. If you have good beasties that you know how to use, you too can love a pineapple. But be warned, others might want the same beastie as you, and there can be only one. Get ready for thrilling fights off the court so you can have fights on it. Each beastie has a point value. 38 points is all you get to draft 7 to 8 beasties, ranging from being worth 1 point to being worth 7, with 1 being the worst beastie, 7 being the best. Generally, there are some beasties that some would say are mispriced, but that's the intent. It's also a snake style draft to stop the person from who goes first from having just an innate advantage over the person who goes last. And a snake style draft means that it goes back and forth. So the person who is first in one round will be last in the next round, and vice versa. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Which means the people on the end get 2 picks in a row. There are 3 different draft groups: the Mind Read, the Galaxy Brain, and the Neural Net. Mind Read and Galaxy Brain are the sweaty pools, whereas Neural Net is the slightly more casual pool. I'm in Neural Net, so this analysis will be focused on that pool, but just because it's the more casual pool does not mean that it's not absolutely stacked. But before we look at the people in the pool, let's take a look at the draft board. This is the draft board. You'll see they range from 7 to 1. The 7 pointers are the most powerful beasties, and the 1 points are the weakest. The beasties who are more flexible are generally going to be better than the beasties who are less flexible in a draft league. So if a beastie can do multiple roles really well, it's probably going to be more expensive than a beastie who does one thing really well. But let's meet the teams. First off, we have the Feral Birds, Coach Scarm, who uses they, it pronouns. The icon on the draft pool was a humplet, which the icons don't mean anything, but they're how we are represented on all of the official documents. Um, when I asked it what its goals were, Scarm said that they wanted to draft a maximally flexible toolbox. They deliberately planned less than they did in the pilot season, where it planned a strong mind-focused team that performed pretty well, but was inflexible, so the losses were complete blowouts. It says that Zero Thoughts Head Empty is the way. Next team is the Dazzling Girls, with coaches Ashley, who uses she, her pronouns, and Phoenix, who uses she, they, it pronouns. Their icon was a Cheerilee, and they never got back to me on a goal, and that's completely fine. I made it very clear that no team had to share their goal with me, especially because they are obviously my opponents in this. The next team is the Animals, coached by Nero, who uses they, it pronouns. Icons a Cass Elite, and their goal also kept to themselves, which, again, totally fine. I don't expect everyone to give me their goal. But the next team, that's the Musical Punks, baby! Coach Puppin, who uses pup, she, it pronouns, also known as me. Icon is Kaleidarn. The Kaleidarn used on the official documentation is purple because the official documentation can only use default colors, but just know if I had it my way, it would be this one that's trans-colored. My goal for this draft was to draft good, flexible beasties and play some good ball. Hopefully I can get better at sticking to a team and not building new teams from the ground up for every tournament, which I have done for every tournament that I've been in. I've made a brand new team for it. And I didn't really have a team planned before draft started, but I made several plans during draft. The next team, the Tiny Tacos, coached by Pummy, who uses she, her pronouns. Icon is an Armantis, and her goal was to draft her favorite beasties that she knew how to use. She had a list of her top 10 picks, and for the top 4, she looked up alternatives in case they got taken. She expected everyone to draft their icon beastie, and she was no different, really wanting an Armantis alongside Varkabond. A solid core. She also wants to prove that Crawlerk is a good beastie, because everyone says that it's just worse Sea-Kit, and we'll get to those claims later. The next team is the Violet Lovers, coached by Kim, who uses she, her pronouns, and Shadoway, who also uses she, her pronouns. Their icon is a Masquerade, and when asked about a goal, Kim said this sums up like 90% of her planning DMs with her draft partner. And then she sent this picture where it's Shadoway saying, "Okay, Kim, we've got a tough opponent. You know what that means." And then Kim sitting there and saying, "We lose." And then Shadoway says, "No!" Okay, the next team is the Freaky Millionaires, coached by Bobby Bear, who uses he, him pronouns, and your best friend, who uses he, they pronouns. Their icon is an Illigus, and when asked for their goal, they said they wanted to draft the biggest, strongest guys. Get beasties who could perform regardless of synergy. Overwhelm the opponent with sheer power. That's how ball is in the real world. None of this synergy or friendship bullshit. Just cold, hard sports. Coincidentally, they were voted most likely to be defeated by the power of friendship in high school. And then our final team, the Whimsical Wizards, coached by Sleepy, who uses they, them pronouns. Their icon is a Lunaptra, and they did not provide a goal. And with introductions out of the way, we can get to the draft. And before we actually get into it, though, I will say, these were largely just, like, vibes-based by me. So, things could be inaccurate, things could be very accurate, and if I don't know exactly what a beastie does, frankly, that's better for my opponent, so I don't expect to be corrected. But if you do want to correct me, leave a comment, correct me. I'd love to be proven wrong, and I'd love to be told why I'm wrong. But, without any further ado, draft start! Round 1. Starting off, the Feral Birds drafted Holmgang the Albrax, a 7-cost beastie who is defensive and has a trait that keeps targets on the field. It also learns Provoke, which early on I started counting as a pro, but later I'm just like, I'm not going to specifically look for Provoke in every moveset. And importantly, it's a bird. However, it does have a pretty low mind defense stat. Our next pick is the Dazzling Girls with Shloom. 7-cost beast, the highest spirit attack in the game, as well as 110 in all power stats and 90 in all defense stats. It has the highest base stat total in the game. It can run any move type. It has great defenses and a really deep move pool. But it loses 10 stamina each turn because of its trait. Next up are the animals who drafted Headshot the Cast Elite. This beastie costs only 6, but has the highest body power stat in the entire game, and its traits only make it stronger. However, it does have a low spirit defense, limited supporting move pool, and it can only attack with body attacks effectively. Up next is me drafting Lance the Noizard, who costs 6 points and has incredible supporting traits with Clamor, which on tag in makes Lance feel noisy, which attracts attacks to it, and makes my ally feel one angry, which means it can't use supporting actions, which kind of sucks, but it's balanced. And Annoying, which makes the target feel angry every time I hit them with an attack. And it can also run either mind or spirit attacks, but it has low offenses and low body defense. But its other defenses are pretty good, which means I can probably afford to put more points into its body defense. Coming up next, the Tiny Tacos draft Chalupa the Armantis. A 7-cost beastie. It has 2 incredible traits that can be used for 2 different roles, either Monster Block, which whenever they use block, the target feels too shook, which means they can't attack on their next turn, or Power Forward. When receiving at a net, gets an easy receive, meaning you don't have to volley the ball before attacking, and Feel Jazzed, which powers up your attacks. It can use body or mind attacks, and it's very defensive. But it comes at the cost that it likes sitting at the net with both traits, because block can only be used at the net. And when you're at the net, you take more damage. Next up, the Violet Lovers drafted Cherylee. Costing 7 points, it probably has the best supporting trait in the game, because its trait just makes all of its allies do 10 more damage than they otherwise would. And it also has an incredible supporting move pool, but its stats are nothing special. Up next, the Freaky Millionaires drafted Voltoxin, a 7-cost beastie, strong mind attacker, incredibly tanky, and has 2 viable traits, either beasties that it makes blocked also lose 25% of their remaining stamina, or Absorption, which gives it 1.5 times mind defense, but it can only use mind attacks, making it inflexible. Wrapping up the first round of draft are the Whimsical Wizards drafting Shield the Bugly, a 6-cost beastie who's a strong mind attacker with good defenses that, because of its trait, get better when it's attacked, but it is only going to be using its mind power stat, and it has a limited supporting move pool. So, for the round 1 summary, these are the beasties everyone drafted. As you can see, I'm also keeping track of the points everyone has. Everyone either has 31 or 32 points after this first round, but those point values will start to get lower as we keep drafting. Round 2. Coming in first with our second round is the Whimsical Wizards with Color Spray the Squimmage. A 5-cost beastie, it benefits from any boosting volley regardless of its moveset because of its protean trait, where anytime it gets any stat boost in one of its stats, it gets another stat boost in both of the other types. So if it's a body power boost it'll also get a spirit and mind power boost. And if it's a body defense boost, it'll also get a spirit and mind boost, for example. It can run any offensive type, and it can also copy an opponent's trait, and it has a really deep move pool. But it is really frail on all stats. Up next, the Freaky Millionaires draft Scaldra, a 7-cost beastie, which makes Sweat stronger, is pretty tanky, and great at applying sweat with its move pool, and it can ignore opponent's stat boosts if it wants to. But it does have fairly middling mind defense, and I believe it only has spirit attacks. I don't remember. I didn't write it down, so it might also get mind attacks. But either way, it's not like the most offensive, but its offenses are respectable. Up next, the Violet Lovers draft a Posser, a 6-cost beastie. It can heal a little bit after taking damage. It can copy opponent's stat boosts, and it has a move that can give opponents stat boost, which again it can copy if it's running competitive, and then it can hit them with the move Toppler, which deals more damage for every stat boost the opponent has. Additionally, it can run either body or spirit attacks, and it also does have provoke. However, its spirit and mind defenses are not the best. Coming up next, the Tiny Tacos draft Gidget the Varkabond. A 5-cost beastie, it has a great trait making the attacker unable to move after they attack it. It has good defenses, strong mind power, provoke, and it incentivizes its ally to be attacked because you don't want to be unable to move on your defensive action, which makes your opponent more predictable. And I wrote down fixed offensive type for its con, but like it does get body moves, but its body power will never be higher than its mind power, which is why I put that there. Because the most you can invest in a stat is 30 points. And its mind power is more than 30 higher than its body power. But if you're going up against a team that's really bulky on the mind side and very frail on the body side, then like you could absolutely run that. Time for my pick, where I draft Uni the Hopra. A 7-cost beastie, it has strong defenses, amazing spirit power, and with its Rumpus trait, it can give passive healing to its allies. But it is going to run only spirit attacks, and it doesn't have many disruptive moves. Up next, the animals draft Wide Swing the Tortanker, a 7-cost beastie with 2 amazing traits, either Shanty when they land a body attack sets rhythm on the allied field, or Captain when they use volley shifts ally to the net. It has great defenses apart from its mind defense, which is listed under the con. But again, because its defenses are so good, it can afford to invest more in mind defense. And it has a great supporting move pool. Overall, it's just a really solid beastie. I'm excited to see what Nero does with it. Up next are the Dazzling Girls drafting Bandicraft, a 7-cost beastie with a great supporting move pool, good defenses, decent offenses. It also has access to Captain, but it's only ever going to be attacking with its mind power, which I wrote down decent offenses. Like, it's respectable. 85 is respectable, but like you have to respect it, but you have to respect it, but like it's not going to be the main damaging threat. Up next, the Feral Birds draft Corundum the Mystic, a 6-cost beastie, which is immune to body attacks entirely. And it has a great supporting move pool, and also, it's a bird. Haters will say it's a bug, but consider the only thing that changes between its morphs is the not bug part. The bug stays. But it does have a low spirit defense, and it only learns mind attacks. Looking at the round 2 summary, we can see the Freaky Millionaires and the Dazzling Girls both tied for the lowest remaining points, whereas the Whimsical Wizards have the most remaining points. We'll see how this turns out. Round 3. Coming in first, the Feral Birds draft Bastion the Platypus, a 5-cost beastie. It has strong mind power, great spirit and mind defenses, and it redirects all mind attacks into itself. It has a great move pool, and, of course, it is a bird. You might think, isn't that a platypus? But it looks like a spoonbill to me, and that's a type of bird. However, it does have low body defense, and it only learns mind attacks. After that, the Dazzling Girls drafted Diablosaurus, A 5-cost beastie with a trait that removes other beasties' traits. And it can use any move type, and it has great defenses and an amazing move pool. However, replacing your opponent's trait with a trait that replaces traits can also hurt your own team, which makes it hard to build around, and it doesn't have that good of offenses. Alright, up next are the animals, drafting Entry Frag the Bongus, a 5-cost beastie with amazing defenses and enables offensive threats with flow, making them unable to be blocked. It lets you tag out other beasties at a lower stamina than you otherwise would feel comfortable with if it's running Welcoming. And it has great supporting moves. However, despite its spirit power being up there with its body power, it only learns 2 fairly weak spirit attacks. And it's hard to put on teams that don't want rhythm. So it's not very flexible. Up next, we're back to me, where I draft Mio the Skiffrig, a 6-cost beastie. It can run either mind or spirit attacks. It has good defenses, 2 great traits, either Bounty, which volleys the ball to the ally after receiving an attack, or Power Forward, where when I'm at the net, I get an easy receive and feel jazzed. And also has a great supporting move pool, but it doesn't have that great of offenses. They're good enough where you have to respect it, especially if I'm running Power Forward, but they're not the best. Up next, the Tiny Tacos draft Yeety the Yammoth, a 6-cost beastie with a trait that lowers opponent's spirit power when it tags in. It's a mixed attacker with body and spirit. It has great defenses and great offenses, and it has a good move pool. Its mind defense isn't the best, but again, it has good defenses otherwise, so you can afford to invest more in it, especially since it's going to make spirit attackers weaker. After that, the Violet Lovers draft Conjar, a 5-cost beastie with good defenses and a great supporting move pool, but it doesn't have the best offensive moveset. Initially, it can ignore additional effects on received attacks, and ignore redirection on any move that isn't sideways. Which, sideways moves are moves that target sideways, and they essentially force your opponent to the front, or to the back if they're both at the front, but... After Conjar, the Freaky Millionaires draft Lunaptra, a 7-cost beastie with good defenses, a trait which makes it restore stamina equal to a quarter of the damage it deals, and amazing body power on top of that. While it doesn't only have body moves, its spirit power is so low that it functionally will only ever use its body power, and it doesn't have that great of mind defense. But, again, you can invest more in it because its body defense is so damn good. Wrapping up round 3, the Whimsical Wizards draft Hideous the Gremler, a 6-cost beastie. It has 2 good traits, either Slippery, which does reduce Gremler's damage by 25%, but it makes it so adjacent allies will receive attacks in Gremler's place. Or it could run Adaptation, which copies your ally's trait when you tag in. It also has good mind power, but it has a pretty limited move pool and it's pretty frail. So here's the summary of round 3. We can see the Freaky Millionaires have 17 points left. Whimsical Wizards have 21. Dazzling Girls and I have 19, and everyone else has 20. Round 4. Starting off this round, the Whimsical Wizards draft Rebuke the Fetch'em. It's a 5-cost beastie with good defenses, good offenses, mixed offensive types with body and spirit. It has good traits with Fetch, making it feel jazzed after getting hit with an attack, or Watchtower, which makes attacks that are targeting an adjacent ally go to fetch them instead, but they do deal 1.2 times damage if they get redirected that way. And it also has a good move pool. However, it does have low mind defense, but we've been over this before. If you have 2 good defenses and one that's not as good but still, like, kind of okay, you can run plus 30 in that defense and suddenly, hey, you're fine. Coming up next, the Freaky Millionaires draft Dugout, the 6-cost beastie with amazing spirit power, great traits, and unflappable, which reduces damage from non-attack sources by 20, or Overwork, which makes its attacks do 1.2 times the damage, but costs 10 stamina, and it has a great move pool. However, it does have, like, middling defenses. Its body defense is really good, but, like, defense is overall kind of middling, and it only has spirit, and it's only gonna use spirit power. After the Freaky Millionaires, the Violet Lovers draft Folks, a 5-cost beastie with with good offensive stats and 2 good traits, with either Treat, which restores 20 stamina to the ally on the field when it's tagged in, or Protector, which boosts its spirit power even further when its ally receives an attack. But it does have poor body defense. After that, the Tiny Tacos drafted Pinky the Crawler, a 4-cost beastie. It has good offenses, respectable defenses, and it does have access to Provoke. However, it is known as worse Seekit, and it costs the same as Seekit. But honestly, I look at Crawler, and every time I'm like, Seekit has better moves, but everything else Crawler is better at. So I don't know if it's like just a moveset difference, or if there's something else that I'm not seeing. But I am a Crawler believer. I think it can do things. Especially given it can run body or mind power, whereas Seekit is limited to mind power. But Tiny Tacos just drafted, that means it's my turn, and I draft Senna the Surgus, a 5-cost beastie. It has the highest spirit power in the game, again, because it's a tie. It has good defenses if Rally is set up there. If Rally's set up, they're good. If it's not set up, its spirit defense is good, but other than that, it's not that good. But when Rally's set up, spirit attacks have a power boost, but because of its performer trait, Surgus has 1.5 times defense while Rally is up. And it has a great supporting moveset as well. But it's only ever really going to run spirit attacks, and it's pretty reliant on Rally to give it that defense boost. After me, the animals drafted Pop Flash the Trat, a 4-cost beastie with 2 good traits with Cleanup, which clears all field effects and stat boosts when it's tagged out, or Mischief, where it can use support plays with the ball and on defense. But it has an amazing supporting moveset, and considering it's a supporting beastie, it has surprisingly high body power. And it's only 4 points. That's pretty cheap for that role. But it does have a low body defense and a pretty poor offensive moveset, so it can't make too much use of that body power. Up next, the Dazzling Girls draft Plateon, a 6-cost beastie, with a trait called Charge, which raises all of its power stats at the end of each turn, which is scary if you don't have a way to deal with that. It also has great defenses and a great supporting move pool, but it does only learn mind power moves. And it can also run Vicious, which makes all of its attacks always do at least 30 damage. And I'm not sure how that works with Tough, because Tough makes it so makes it so you take less damage, but you also can't. Tough makes it so you will always live with at least 1, unless you're already at 1. So I'm wondering if which one takes priority there. I should test that at some point. Anyways, after the Dazzling Girls, the Feral Birds draft Tempest the Zephyr, a 5-cost beastie with 2 great traits, either Maverick, which makes its ball attacks ignore opposing beasties' traits, or Flitting, which makes it unable to be blocked. It has a great offensive move pool, good spirit power, and a decent supporting move pool, and most importantly, it's a bird. However, it does have really low body defense. But with the Feral Birds, that wraps up round 4, and here is the new summary. Freaky Millionaire's already at 10 points left. Remember, you need to draft at least 7 beasties, and they have 10 points left with 4 beasties. Everyone else has a fair bit more than them. Round 5. So the Feral Birds drafted Nebula the Goofster, a 6-cost beastie with 2 good traits, either Goofy, sideways attacks do 1.3 times damage, or Plucky, which makes it unable to be given feelings. It has good offensive stats and good defensive stats, and it can use either mind or body power. And it is a bird. You might be wondering, how is this a bird? This looks nothing like a bird. Well, fortunately, I asked Scarm how it was a bird. And it sent this very helpful diagram. See, that's the beak. We got the superhero emblem. There's a tail, and it has wings. However, despite being a bird, it does have pretty poor body defense. After the feral birds come the dazzling girls, who draft Grisada, a 4-cost beastie. It has a good trait, attacks shift their target back. It has great spirit power, good defenses, and a great moveset. But it does have like middling mind defense and a fixed offensive type in spirit. After that, the animals drafted Opper the Crabberay, a 6-cost beastie. It has 2 great traits in Agile, which makes it able to attack without volleying, or Groove, which makes its attacks do 1.2 times damage while Rhythm is on the field. It has good defenses, a great moveset, and it can use either body or spirit attacks. But it does have a bad spirit defense. After the animals, it's the musical punks drafting Noah the Daredillo. 5-cost beastie, has amazing offensive stats, 105 spirit power, 95 body power. Has 2 good traits. It has self-assured stats can't be changed at all, which, it has its moments. And acrobat, which defense is multiplied by 1.5 after it moves or tags in, which is good because it has pretty bad spirit and mind defenses. But it also has a great offensive moveset to utilize the traits. But it also has a great offensive moveset to utilize its stats. After me comes the Tiny Tacos drafting Mudquip the Mudsly, a 5-cost beastie with 2 amazing traits. Either opponents can't make them feel angry, or when it's sweaty, it restores 10 stamina each turn instead of taking 10 stamina. It has good defenses, a great supporting moveset, and decent mind power. But it does only learn mind moves, and its mind defense isn't the best. After that come the Violet Lovers drafting the Nefarious Superorganism, or Gela. Its trait, Superorganism, restores it instantly from 0 stamina, and it makes it feel 2 shook. Shook means you can't attack, but when you realize that it has moves that lower its own stamina, so it can put itself to 0 and restore back to full if it's low, and it has a move that it can use when it is shook, suddenly this beastie becomes really scary. And it has a pretty good spirit power, and it has great defenses. However, it does only have spirit moves. Anyways, the Freaky Millionaires afterwards drafted Supilero, a 5-cost beastie with 2 fantastic traits. Forager restores 50 stamina when it's tagged out, and Confident gives it a body power and body defense boost when it's tagged in. Those boosts, like all boosts, do reset on point, but when you have them, it's really nice. And it has a respectable body power, especially if you're gonna run Confident, which is the trait that raises the power and defense. But it will only be running those body moves, and its spirit defense is not that great. After the Freaky Millionaires come the Whimsical Wizards drafting Fireball the Riplash, a 7-cost beastie with fantastic body power, great mind defense, a great offensive moveset, and good traits. Either Launcher, which makes its attacks do 1.3 times damage, but they always target straight ahead, or steadfast, where opponents can't lower their stats or move them. Which, like, targeting straight ahead, like, that's a good, that's like not bad unless like you have very specific beasties that can tank its body moves. And it does have poor body defense. But anyways, with the Whimsical Wizards, that leads us to our round 5 summary. You can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 you can see there are 6 teams that are now in the single digits of points, with only the Animals and the Tiny Tacos being in double digits still, with 10 and 11 respectively. And at this point, everyone has a full team they can bring to a game, but you still have to get at least 7 beasties in order to be valid for draft. Round 6. The Whimsical Wizards start off round 6 with Command the Bendiva, a 5-cost beastie with 2 good traits, either Thief, whenever they move or shift, they take the ball from their ally, or Majesty, which reduces the spirit power of the opponent team when it's tagged in. It has great mind offense and a good moveset, but with only 38, its spirit defense is not good at all. After the Whimsical Wizards come the Freaky Millionaires, drafting Delusia, a 4-cost beastie with great defenses and a trait that ignores negative field effects, but it also ignores positive field effects. And it also has a great move pool, but it does also have a fixed offensive type, only learning those body moves. The Violet Lovers drafted Digum afterwards, a 4-cost beastie with incredible defensive stats, an amazing supportive trait in Friendship, which makes its allies take 3/4 damage from attacks, and a great supportive move pool. But its offensive stats are nothing. It is not offensive at all. Afterwards, the Tiny Tacos drafted Oleander the Skulkapi. I very well might be pronouncing that wrong. I've probably pronounced several nicknames wrong. But it's a 5-cost beastie with a trait that eliminates 50/50s where she is on the defensive, because Stealthy will automatically shift you to targeted empty lanes. So, like, if it's like, okay, if I move up, then I die to a non-sideways move, but if I don't move up, they get a no-touch point with a sideways move. All of a sudden, it's just, okay, I'll stay back here, and if you go for the sideways move, my Skulkapi will automatically move up. There will still be 50/50s where Pummy, the Tiny Tacos coach, is in those positions, but, it's still a really good trait. It's also a mixed attacker with mind and spirit power being pretty good, has a great move set, and it has great defenses apart from that 50 body defense. After the Tiny Tacos come the Musical Punks. That's me with Tie on the Plumask, 5-cost beastie, with 2 solid traits, either Stirring, which reflects feelings that an opponent gives onto that opponent, or Stagecraft, which, while the field has Rally or Dread, never takes more than 66 damage from attacks, and if you recall, my beasties drafted so far, they all have good spirit power and benefit from Rally, so it's really good. It has great spirit and mind power, which, the mind power typically isn't that good on a Rally team because Rally weakens mind attacks, but it has a great moveset that includes Ego Blast, which is a mind attack that, instead of being weakened by Rally, is boosted by it, as well as having good spirit and mind defenses. But it has abysmal body defense, and unless you are running Ego Blast, all your moves are gonna want to be spirit on my team specifically. But Ego Blast makes it so you still have to invest in. I don't know why I wrote fixed offensive type. It's really not. It's really not. Because, like, when I'm analyzing the beasties like this, I'm trying to do it, like, apart from the team, and then I'll do a whole team summary afterwards. I don't know why I wrote fixed offensive type. Like, even if we're considering that I have a rally team, I can still run Ego Blast, which is a mind attack boosted by rally. After me come the animals drafting IGL the Silusk, a 5-cost beastie with the highest mind power in the game, great mind and spirit defenses, 2 good traits in Galaxy Brain, which raises its mind power by 1 stage whenever it receives a mind attack, or Anticipation, which gives 1.5 times defense when the attacker is blocked, which is good because it has abysmal body defense at 30, and it has a good moveset. After the animals come the dazzling girls, drafting Helios, a 6-cost beastie with the best spirit power in the game for the third and final time, because it is in fact a 3-way tie. All 3 of them got drafted. And it has 2 great traits. All attacks can do 1.2 times damage while any ally is wiped, or it can do 1.3 times damage when it itself is sweaty, nervous, or tender. It has great spirit and mind defenses and a good move pool, but it does have a really bad body defense, and it's only going to be hitting you hard with those spirit attacks. After the Helios, the Feral Birds draft Torqueweaver the Musclebound, a 4-cost beastie. It has a great trait where non-body attacks become body attacks and are 1.2 times stronger, and has amazing body defense, a great move pool, and it is in fact a bird. You might be wondering, Puppin, how is this a bird? This looks nothing like a bird. Consider, it's this. This is the type of bird it is. I don't know what kind of bird it is, but Scarm said that it was that type of bird. However, it does have a terrible trait because, despite me listing great trait as a pro, terrible trait is also a con because all of your attacks becoming body does mean that if you're against a team that has high body defenses, it's not going to be that good. And it also has an abysmal mind defense. Which I want to be clear. I also want to be clear. Musclebound absolutely prefers having all of its attacks being body attacks because its other powers are not good. But it still is an issue that's just present with all beasties that have a fixed offensive type. Anyways, with the Feral Birds, that wraps up our 6th round. We can see the Feral Birds have 5 points, Dazzling Girls 3, Animals 5, Musical Punks 4, Tiny Tacos 6, Violet Lovers 5, Freaky Millionaires at 2, and Whimsical Wizards have 4 points left. Coming up on the 7th round now, coaches can make their final purchases here, or they could make another purchase later, because, again, 7 to 8 beasties on a team. Round 7. We're starting off here with the Feral Birds drafting Passage the Waddle, a 4-cost beastie with an amazing trait, giving it a defense bonus at the net and a power bonus at the back row, swapping how it normally functions. It has great defenses and a great move pool, but it has low offensive presence, and according to Scarm, it's only bird adjacent. I thought that Waddle was a bird, and what was commonly misconstrued as leaves are actually wings, and Scarm corrected me, saying Waddle is a rat, which is an urban adapted animal and therefore adjacent to pigeons. So sorry, Waddle, but you've been denied access from the Bird Club, but you're still allowed on the Feral Birds team. After that Waddle pick, the Dazzling Girls drafted Sprecko, a 2-cost beastie with good traits and a good move set, but it does have really bad stats. After the Sprecko, the animals drafted Ninja the Hydrome, a 5-cost beastie with 2 great traits, either Restoration, where all healing it receives is doubled, or Torpor, I think. Torpor? I'm just going to say Torpor. It's easier to pronounce that way for me. Where whenever they use free ball, they get +3 in all of their power stats. It is a mixed attacker with mind and body power. It has great defenses and great offenses, but its body defense isn't the best. Anyways, that's the animals pick. It's time for the musical punks drafting Manana the Flowish, a 3-cost beastie, the nefarious super duper organism. The reference there, I announced all of my draft picks with shit posts, and my one for Flowish was because Orgella might be super organism, but I'm super duper organism because Flowish does turn into Orgella. And it has a great move set, but it does have a fixed offensive type in Spirit Power, just like its grown-up version. After my Flowish, the Tiny Tacos draft Sunny the Brosliden, a 6-cost beastie with amazing body power, great traits, either Smooth, where when they move or shift, they restore 15 stamina, or Miracle Play, where Free Ball is a 60 power attack. 60 power, not that strong, but when you consider you can always use Free Ball, and there are times where you can't use other attacks, it suddenly becomes pretty useful. It also has good defenses and a great move pool, but it is only ever going to be running that body power, most likely. It does learn a couple mind attacks, but it's probably only ever going to be running the body attacks. After that pick, the Violet Lovers drafted Garud, a 4-cost beastie, with 2 good traits in Mischief, which we already covered, or Crowing. When an opponent is wiped, this beastie restores 50 stamina. It has great offensive stats. It's a mixed attacker, good defenses, and a great move pool, especially for supporting. But it does have a bad spirit defense. It has I say especially for supporting. It has good offensive moves too. But it does have a very bad spirit defense, only clocking in at 40 base. After Garud, the Freaky Millionaires draft Proteus, a 1-cost beastie, with 2 great traits, the same as Hydrome, because it turns into Hydrome, and good mind defense, and it is a mixed attacker as well, but all of its stats are pretty low. After the Freaky Millionaires come the Whimsical Wizards drafting Haste the Kaleidarn, a 4-cost beastie with a great trait, being Nimble, where it gets +1 action after receiving any attack, and it is my favorite beastie of all time. But I have run Kaleidarn on all of my tournament teams except for one. Its move pool is just... I'm always like, okay, if Kaleidarn can do this, and then it just never has a move that does that, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I understand its trait would be too good, probably, if it had, like, moves that were good at supporting. But, like, look at the stats. They aren't that good either. They're, like, middling across the board. It makes me sad, because I love Kaleidarn, and I want it to be buffed so bad. Make my baby good. Anyways, here's the summary of round 7. You can see we have some teams were at 0 points already, and everyone else is at 1. Round 8. Final round. Before we start off the final round, we're going to look at the teams with no round 8 pick. First, we've got the Whimsical Wizards, because they have no points remaining. Then the Freaky Millionaires, who passed despite having 1 point remaining. The Violet Lovers also passed despite having 1 point remaining. And the Tiny Tacos had no points remaining, and the Animals had no points remaining. But with that, let's get on to the first pick of round 8, which belongs to yours truly. Musical Punks drafting Riku the Scrubub, a 1-cost beastie. It has 2 great traits. Helmet, damage from non-sideways attacks reduced by 3/4, and Momentum does 1.3 times damage just after moving or tagging in. Those are both amazing. It is great to have multipliers that either help you survive or deal more damage, especially when your stats on their own aren't that good. It has low offensive stats, low spirit and mind defenses. But again, the spirit and mind defenses and the offensive stats can, either one of those can be helped out by the trait. And it has a fixed offense type because despite its spirit power being almost equal to its body power, it learns 0 spirit power moves. I have very high hopes for Scrubub. Scrubub will be my GOAT. You just have to wait and see. But after Scrubub come the dazzling girls drafting Petala, the nefarious organism! Because as the beastie that turns into the nefarious superorganism, it is not yet a superorganism. It has no trait. Its trait is that it has no trait. It costs 1, and it has good spirit. It has the exact same stats as Flowish. So, like, it has good spirit power, and it also still has a good moveset. But like, the only reason I felt comfortable drafting Flowish is because it had superorganism, which Petala does not have. After that, the feral birds draft Awkward the Gullet, a 1-cost beastie with 2 great traits, the same as Skiffrig, because it turns into Skiffrig. Honestly, for 1 cost, it has good defenses all around for a 1 cost. Its body defense being respectable. Its spirit defense is also kind of respectable, but its mind defense isn't good, but, like, it's a 1 cost, what do you expect? And it has a great move pool, being one of 2 beasties in the game to have Provoke and Cyclone at the same time, with the other beastie being the one that it turns into. However, it does have low offensive stats and low mind defense. And that concludes our 8th and final round. You can see that there are 2 teams that still have 1 point left. You can make trades, but with trading, you still have to be within your point bracket. And as you can see, I'm using the same gift that I had on the opening slide for Scrubub, which uses the rare morph, because I have a rare morph Scrubub, and I love it. It is my GOAT. Shoutouts Riku. But yeah, all trades, you must stay within your point budget. So it's not like there's no point in having leftover points. Because that's the final round, you might think it's done. Bonus stage, Grace Period. The Grace Period transactions, there is exactly 1 of them. The Violet Lovers drafted Platena, which I meant to make appear when I clicked. Why did it appear before then? I don't know. But this was the message. Shadowway said, Kim told me I'm not allowed to come home without Platena, so please add it to our team. Platena does cost 1. It is completely allowed. The Grace Period is a time where you can make free agent transactions and trades without it counting against your limit for the total. But it is a 1-cost beastie, has a great trait in neural nets, and it has good mind defense and a good move pool. But it does have low offensive stats and low body and spirit defenses. Its mind defense is still pretty good. But with that done, this is the Grace Period summary, and no more changes have been made since. But here are some notable free agents, beasties that weren't drafted, surprising many people. First off, Illigus, the only 7-cost beastie in our pool to not get drafted. It's expensive, but it's also really good. Beetleback, 6-cost beastie, notable. It has really good defenses. It has 2 great traits. It has a good supporting move pool. It's all around really good, but no one drafted it. Then Demolipede, 6-cost beastie, also has good traits and a pretty good move pool. It is limited to body attacks, but like it has a trait that lowers all of the opponent's defenses every time they get hit by it, which is pretty nice to have. Then Maraptor. I'm very surprised by Maraptor not getting drafted. It costs 6. It has It has, I believe, two. It has two great traits. One of them, whenever it attacks, it becomes noisy, attracting attacks. The other one, giving it making it deal more damage, I believe, when an ally is wiped. I could be misremembering. I didn't write this down. Uh, Masquery, I'm also really surprised didn't go. 6-cost Beastie. It metamorphs from Charily, so it doesn't have the great trait, but it still has the great supporting move pool, and it's also really offensive. So like you can run it as offense or as support, and either way, it does really well at that job, especially because its traits, one of them makes its allies restore 6 stamina every turn. The other one gives it a power boost when Rhythm is on the field. Like it's just a really good beastie. I'm surprised nobody took it. Surveys, 5-cost beastie. Uh, it's fallen from its former glory, but I'm still a bit surprised no one took it, considering it's really strong in both body and mind power. Not mind. Considering it's really strong in both body and spirit power, but it also is pretty frail, if I'm remembering correctly. So I understand it not being drafted. Seekit is a notable free agent. It costs 4, and it's mostly notable because Crawlerk, the beastie everyone says it's the better version of, did get drafted. So we're not going to be able to see a head-to-head between Crawlerk and Seekit. And the last notable free agent is Gastic, a 1-cost beastie, but it's very notable that it didn't get drafted because its trait makes it immune to all body attacks, which is pretty useful. But it's frail on both the other defenses, and it has no offensive presence. It does have a pretty good supportive move pool, but like, I don't know. I personally expected Gastic to go before I got to pick, but then the people who had 1 point left skipped, and I was like, fuck it, I'm drafting Scrubub anyways. But yeah, if you want to know why I picked Scrubub over Gastic, despite mainly running it for its body defense, it's because I told myself, fuck it. I already started making plans with Scrubub. I'm going to use Scrubub. But it's time for the summaries of every team. So here are the feral birds. They have good attackers of every type, lots of birds, and Waddle. Albrax and Mystic is a very strong duo, and Skarm drafted Albrax first, and then 14 picks went by, and we all just let it get Mystic as well. Very strong duo. Mystic can make a beastie very sleepy and unable to do anything, and Albrax can drop that beastie on the field, so you effectively only have one beastie that can do things on the field. It has a lot of strong supporting beasties. It is mostly mind attackers, and it has pretty good bulk across the board. Now, the Dazzling Girls, they have Shloom, who has the highest base stat total of any beastie in the game, is just very powerful. Has good bulk. The combination of Diablosaurus plus Shloom is really good because Diablosaurus overwrites the opponent's traits with a trait that overwrites the opponent's trait. And Shloom really does not want its traits. So like no trait is a massive benefit to Shloom. And it also has really powerful spirit and mind attackers. It can also run body mostly on Shloom or Diablosaurus, but Diablosaurus isn't that strong to begin with, and Shloom can run any attack stat, which is part of why it is so scary, particularly in draft. After the Dazzling Girls come the Animals, which is a strong rhythm team. It mainly focuses on body power, but it has some respectable attackers in the other powers as well. None of the beasties on this team are like throwaway beasties. Like, I had a point left over. Let me just take Shuga because I like Shuga. It's like, no, every beastie here serves a clear role and is very strong at that role. It's a strong, balanced team. It has respectable defenses, mostly body power, but again, it does have those spirit attack. It does have potential of Spirit attacking Crabberay, and it does have Silusk and Hydrome and Tortanker, all of whom can do pretty good mind attacks. Next comes me, the musical punks. I have a pretty powerful rally team going here. Pretty much hyper offense. I have Plume Mask, which gives me mind coverage even if I have rally set up because of Ego Blast. I am pretty weak to body attacks. My average mind defense is lower than my average body defense, but again, rally will weaken all the mind moves. And I also only have one mind attacker. Like, if I didn't want to bring rally to a game, I could run mind attackers other than Plume Mask. But Daredillo is really my only body attacker. And technically Scrubub, but like it's Scrubub. But also, it's Scrubub. Scrubub, sweet baby! I love Scrubub. I expect great things from it. I did use the same walking animation gif again. But my team also has the lowest average base stat total of every team, clocking in at 392. But after me come the Tiny Tacos. This team is pretty bulky. It has some good disruption. It has Crawler, who I personally believe in, and I think other people will underestimate because they're like, it's not even C-Kit. It has balanced offenses, but it skews towards body and mind power. And it has the highest average base stat total of all the teams at 436. After the Tiny Tacos come the Violet Lovers. It has mostly Spirit Attackers, lots of support beasties, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure what this team does, and that terrifies me. Because I know Kim is a very skilled player. Kim was the only person who answered the most casual option on the survey. Like, she's just here to have fun. But she is also very good at Beastieball, despite her lack of confidence in that. So, like, I'm interested to see how she pilots this team, because I have no idea what it will do. Anyways, after the Violet Lovers come the Freaky Millionaires. This is the only team to have a unique beastie with 100 or more in every power. Obviously, Shloom has 110 in every power, but that's why I specified a unique beastie. It's a very bulky team. It has good passive damage with 2 Dreadful Mist setters and 2 Heatwave users, which Heatwave makes every fielded beastie feel sweaty. It looks to me like a stall team, I think, and it is the only team that had a point left over. And after the Freaky Millionaires are, of course, the Whimsical Wizards. I am not sure what this team does either. I have an idea of what this team wants to do, but I don't know how to word it. That's not me trying to gatekeep information. Like, I genuinely just don't know how to describe what this team wants to do, but I have an idea of what it wants to do in my head. I just don't know how to put it into words. But that is the end of the draft analysis. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it, and I'm really excited for this season of Prepared Attack, the Beastieball Draft League.